let's get into this rumor about Matt Booty. Now, Matt Booty, obviously, big part of Xbox. You know, obviously, he was clipped a couple of years ago where he literally said, not in the greatest of times, 2022, not a great year for Xbox, that they literally have so many games that they don't know where to put them. Right? We've heard that again. At the time, not the greatest, but since then, well, they seem to be hitting cadence. Now, granted, beginning of the year was a little slow. You got Hellblade 2. I think it's a game of the year contender. Some people don't. I hear you if you don't. That's fine. But something that I'm in many DMs, and shout out to Pong Soul for dropping this into the big DM we're in. This, again, take it with a grain of salt, folks. It comes the way of Reddit. Okay, so but 2 of the 3 games listed here, we already know are coming out next year. So it says, first-party acquisitions of yesteryear seem ready to deliver in a big way. With South of Midnight from Compulsion, which we just saw the deep dive in, it looks phenomenal. Avowed from the impressively consistent Obsidian, which we've seen. That game is going to rock when it launches next year. But this is where it gets a little wild. It says, with Undead Labs State of Decay 3 enjoying a bigger team than ever before to build its apocalypse simulator, Microsoft is already shared its lineup for 2025 during the Xbox Game Showcase last June. Now, they don't say that this is one of the games, but this is where it gets a little wonky. Check this out. Our sources indicate that Microsoft's Matt Booty has a couple of additional tricks up its sleeve for next year, as well as to maintain the strong momentum it has with content right now. And this is pretty interesting because we know the games that are coming out next year. South of Midnight is one of them. Doom Eternal is another. Avowed is to start 2025 campaign, and at the end of the year, the sequel to Black Ops 2. Right, so that's the 4 big ones for Xbox. Where we don't know is whether or not State of Decay is going to be ready. It might be ready, and if it is, I mean, it looked really good, and that was gameplay. That was confirmed that was actual gameplay, which is fan-freaking-tastic. But we also have an Exiles game, which we saw a couple of years ago, and it looked freaking great back then, and they've been talking about it. I really think that we could get an Exiles game next year, and that would be that could be 5 or 6 first-party games in 1 year. That definitely covers the 1 per quarter. In some quarters, you might get 2. This just goes back to how is Xbox dead? I have no idea. But let's talk about this. Let's talk about Xbox first party in 2025, because look at the differences. Sony's top 4 games coming out next year, 3 are owned by Xbox. That's crazy. And one of which, because they need money, they sold the IP back to Kojima, and that almost guarantees that Death Stranding 2 is only a timed exclusive, because Kojima said it himself. He literally said in the press release that he wants more people to play Death Stranding. Stay tuned. That means Death Stranding 2 is coming to Xbox. Maybe not next year, maybe the following year, but it's no longer a console exclusive for PlayStation. And then you look at what's happening for Xbox. Avowed, Doom Eternal, Call of Duty, South of Midnight, State of Decay 3 possibly. What is an Exiles game? I keep saying it's a Clockwork Revolution. Could you imagine if those are the 6 games plus what you're getting in Game Pass? See, again, how is Xbox losing? How are they dying?
They're not. 1 second. But hold on. Sorry, it's just a work call came in, and then another thing just popped in. But no, you're right. Now you were talking about is that other game that they're thinking maybe next year, Undead Labs game?
Yeah, State of Decay 3. Yeah, that's listed in this Reddit leak. So again, take it with a grain of salt, folks.
That's a lot. That's a lot of games. Like, this is the like, I understand the like filler games in between, like the maybe smaller games. I feel like State of Decay is huge. That if that came next year, that would be crazy because next year's already like stacked, right?
Yeah.
Like it's already stacked in a major way.
They have
Right?
4 major games next year. They again, just look at the 2 platforms. One is PlayStation, and they're waiting for Xbox to deliver games to their platform. They have no first-party games. The one exclusive is no longer exclusive. Death Stranding 2, right? Think about that. And then what Xbox has going on, potentially 6 major game releases, all AAA monster-size releases. Some are multi-plat, some are exclusive. Clockwork Revolution is an exclusive. State of Decay is an exclusive. Avowed is an exclusive. That's a lot of games. And you know something?
That's a lot, man.
They could figure out a way to drop them systematically. Because again, February is what we know confirmed for Avowed. But April, which is 2 months later, thanks to Will Broke Boy Lewis, and the potentially the leak or the accidental leak of what South of Midnight could be released. If they do it every 2 months,
like that lines up, right?
It does
that
line up, dude,
in a big way.
Yeah.
My mind, the only thing that goes with my mind is that like the 4 games, right, that we have that's separate from Call of Duty. Like I feel like Call of Duty is gonna own that slot, and then like that fall, and then it just depends on whether or not you're going to have like smaller entities around it, or if you're going to go in December like a Indiana Jones, right? But like, Fable, you got to imagine is probably like a September, October release.
Yeah, for what,
I wouldn't even say October if Call of Duty's October, right? So I would say September. I think South of Midnight, before we had the that thing come out, which I was kind of thinking in my mind that April would be the time, right? Because you have, January, and then February you get the you get Avowed, and then March off, and then April you would get, South of Midnight, which would be fantastic. And then I'm like we know they're gonna have other games, right? Like we know this, right? We didn't know every game that was gonna drop this year either.
Look, I can say with full authority that next year is going to be a big year for Xbox for a couple of reasons. So walk with me for a second. So we know the games that are coming, right? We have an idea that there may be some third-party stuff in there. Will Broke Boy Lewis said in one of his super chats that Adamfall is, even though it's a multi-plat, it's still day one in Xbox Game Pass. That's pretty big. But that's not going to be the only one. We know for a fact that they spend $1 billion per year to fill Xbox Game Pass with second-party, third-party, and indies. This is on top of potentially 6 AAA first-party games. It's going to be a banger year. But what if at the end of the year, you get the handheld? Like everyone keeps saying that it's coming 2026. I don't think so.
Phil said it's going to be a few years though. Like he just said, it's going to be a few years.
He said a couple. So does that count this year and next year? I mean, I'm just saying that I think that might be a smokescreen. Again, it's just my thoughts. I have no.
I mean, it can be. I mean, I originally thought it made more sense to drop it with the console. Like I know Hargeet on the show had brought up the idea of doing a handheld first so that you can kind of get it out, and then maybe do the next gen console with another handheld or something like that afterwards. I don't know if it drops next year, that would be dope. I know Jez was talking about it, but then Jez also kind of like now talked about how he said it was coming, and I guess it's going to be further out or something like that. So I don't know. I mean, I think as far as like the handheld is concerned, that's dope. But like we have so many games that are coming. Like we still don't know about like Contraband. We don't know about any of these other like games that we know they have deals with people who've been making games for them for a while. We haven't seen
Project
them yet,
Dragon,
right?
the 007 game. I mean, it's just
I mean, it is what it is. And remember, man, like we're going, like every time we go into these shows, they're bringing up new things. We're seeing new things come out, which is great. At the end of the day, those games like Atom Fall, like 33 Expedition 33.
Oh,
Right?
dude, so
That's gonna be
good.
sick. That's day one Game Pass. Like you gotta understand, like we are not the same, right? I told like in our show, I always say it, like for me personally, if I don't have to pay for your game, that makes it like it's essentially an Xbox game, right? Like MLB The Show, I feel like it's our game. Like it's just like who gets treated the way we do? Only Xbox fans, right? Only Xbox fans get treated the way we do, where we get all these day and date drops into our Game Pass. And the ponies will claim that they don't care about that, or oh, it's just they're filler and all this stuff, right? But the moment they get one game day and date into PlayStation Plus, they start jumping for joy, right? Oh my god, we're getting it, right? That's what they did for Alan Wake, right? When it came out, that Alan Wake, that their new game, not Alan Wake, Remedy's new game, that extraction shooter or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I forget, FNB or FBA, I don't know, or FBC. That game was coming to Game Pass, right? And then afterwards, we found out that they also did a double deal. So they're taking Game Pass and they're taking PlayStation Plus, and they were so happy, right? Oh, so great, right? Everything was so happy because they're getting a day and date. Dude, this is our normal life. Like you guys get it sprinkled every once in a while, right? Every month we're getting day and dates. Every month, every single month, there are games dropping day and date into Game Pass, where if you had an inkling of a desire to try out that game, you would have to go buy it. Where here, we just get it. It's part of our palette here. And it's part of just what we have access to. It's a beautiful thing, man. We're not the same. It's a very different situation. So when you look at those gaps in between the major, excuse me, the major Xbox releases, in between, we're still getting day and date drops. We're still getting brand new games day one for us to consume. And it's glorious, man. Like it's just a beautiful thing. So you got to look at, they also want to create those windows for, some of these impactful games. So even if you take Atom Fall, which looks awesome, right? You take Atom Fall and you take Expedition 33, just those two games need their own space to be able to drop and, have their moment to shine. You don't want to take a major first party IP and put it on top of one of those, right? So ultimately that's the difference for us, right? We're getting it in all ways possible. We're getting the first party output that's coming in and just doing amazing for us, right? And to be clear, like I know you guys talked about the Hellblade 2. Okay, that was the first half was a little, they didn't have a lot of Xbox
a little light
first
for
party.
sure.
Yeah, but I mean, but we did get a bunch of day and date games in that time frame, right?
We did
on Game Pass.
That doesn't count. See, that doesn't count.
Yeah, so that's just an illusion for them, right? Because those same people will come out here and tell us that all these third-party games that PlayStation didn't develop, those count for our numbers, right? But we get the games for free, they don't count. I get it. I understand. I don't. I'm lying. That's just dumb thinking. But either way, we were fed the entire time, right? We also got the biggest game of the year up until Call of Duty, right? Which was Power World, right?
Yeah.
In January, starting the year off, right? So, like, let's be clear, right? We are constantly fed. We have no droughts. They may think that, but we have no droughts. They, on the other hand, they have plenty of drought because for them, they got to buy every single game. So regardless of whether or not it's a third-party exclusive or not exclusive, if that game was everywhere and they wanted that game, they would still have to buy it. So nothing has changed for them, right? When PlayStation Money has a game, nothing changes for PlayStation people, right? Nothing changes. It's just the game is no longer on Xbox, right? Which is fine, which is why what has happened, boom, what have we seen definitively happen? Every major third-party publisher has backed away from PlayStation. None of them are doing any more exclusives at all for PlayStation. Square just has to finish off their last game in that trilogy, and then they're out. They've come out. Everybody is walking away from PlayStation because those deals hurt them.
Yep.
And you guys are not buying them.